It froze. Okay, we're not frozen anymore. Hi, I'm Troy Athens, and we got Celeste any percent league going on. We got MooseSR versus Millay. It's gonna be a fun one. We got the lads over here. The lads of 5 years and 6. Obviously. Countdown has started, and they have started. That's how starting works. Okay, make sure we got the streams in sync here at the prologue, and then we'll be into chapter 1, and that's where the fun starts. For now, we're just watching people say we can do this, because we can. Oh, first out there from Millay. Still ahead here, though. And yeah, he does. He does have chapter timer on right now. Millay does need to change that. But until then, it's still pretty obvious what is going on. I believe file timer will show up at the end of the chapter, at least. I think. And given based off of just a little bit of sync, I think Moose is ahead here. And just based off of file time there. Chapter time finish. Yeah, 104 to 107, okay. And that just finishes. And now we'll get Millay to properly change his timers, hopefully. Yeah, okay, he realized it, cool. Okay, in chapter 2 now. And yeah, we can see that we definitely have the lead here for Moose. And that has not appeared to change. No trouble here on chapter 2 from either side. And now out of it and into awake section for Moose, while Millay is just a little bit behind, about to approach the awake section. Ooh, not the fastest moving for Moose, getting a little bit tripped up here. Maybe some paddling that he's not quite used to yet. He's been trying out, or I think he just missed an ultra. And Millay missing a corner boost there. So all in all, the difference in timing is staying about the same. Moose being about 5 to 10 seconds ahead right now. Ooh, quick death there from Moose. Not going to do any sort of lead change, but definitely is painful to see. Such a simple death. Oh, good save. My heart skipped a beat there for a split second. Moose. Well, that we're still maintained at about a 5-second gap. Nothing really to comment on in terms of that changing. But just just little hiccups here and there that I'm finding that are comment worthy because they're interesting and fun. Nope. Moose missing that last coin there. Not going to be a huge difficulty though. Although it definitely has closed this gap. We're now, I'd say, somewhere at like 30 seconds. We're very close. They actually could be tied right now, just given the timer desync. Oh, yeah, they are tied. They are definitely tied. Oh! And Moose getting another mess up on. Moose no longer with that clean record. Which I'm sure hurts, but, you know, always good to get the first death out of the way finally. And now he cannot, you know, like, have so much pressure on Demo Dash and just kind of have, you know, just do it. Well, we've got a very close race right now. Okay, Moose, the first one RTA is out of there at 8:17, while Millay is out of there at 8:20. So we are at a 3-second lead for Moose. Oh, tried for the corner boost, was not able to get it. And Millay doing little strategies a bit better and is able to seem to catch up by a little bit right now. And yeah, they are back to being very close together. This is neck and neck. Okay, we got the sync. Thank you, Milo, because this is so clear. Like, they are doing the same moves at the same time right now. Oh, little mess up there for Moose, allowing Millay to pull ahead. And now just waiting around this all scroller section. Ooh! Tough death there from Moose on a screen that's gonna take a little bit to recover there. Yeah, just a misdirect on that dash input. That is gonna impact a good amount right here, as Millay's gonna be finishing out here at 11:04 file time. Well, with the death there on Moose, this is chapter 4 right now for Moose. And now it's an 11:25, so we're at a 20-second difference now going into chapter 5. And a lot of that was actually due to just that last screen right there. Ooh, Millay so close to getting that yeet. Moose coming out to the yeet very shortly as well, as Millay is approaching the cassette room. And that's a successful yeet for Moose. Nicely done. $112, chapter 5A. And a 114 on Moose's side. Ooh, death at the beginning of the 5B here for Millay. We're going towards Bub's drops right now. And these players are with, you know, like one Bub's drop miss can definitely make or break this right now. As Millay has got through Bub's drop on the first try, still got the rest of 5B to deal with though. And oh, Moose failing Bub's drop on the first try. That's gonna put him further behind right now. And second attempt misses as well. Finally able to get it on the third attempt, but it's really a little late here as we are looking at a very far behind Moose. You do, of course, have Millay to have to finish out 5B here, still in a very difficult section. And now doing the secret gauntlet. Well, Moose is actually dying in this shaft. Little chasm area thing. Ooh, Millay taking death on the final room of 5B, the rhythm room, and Moose not quite able to get the shockwave correctly off of the Seeker there. Oh, this Seeker is not playing nice with Moose right now. Millay failing first try on the leg skip, getting on the second try though, as Moose is closing it out of 5B right now. Went for an entrance cycle, but kind of did a bit of a hesitation there. It was not quite the optimal entrance cycle. Bit of a different method that I'm used to seeing on that room. And we're looking at about a 1 minute gap right now. Both players just moving through the hollows right now. Actually, Moose not quite at the hollows yet, but still just moving through the chapter. Millay going for top route, successfully getting it. Oh, not quite getting the corner boost, ending up grabbing the wall above the exit and kind of just taking it back. Didn't quite register right away that that's where Millay ended up, but that's where he was. We're turning into a similar problem right there, and Millay is currently working on the battle line fight. And Chur of Athens just struggling a little bit to not get distracted by the beauty of this game. Sorry, I get lost. Millay not quite able to get the featherless right there. As Moose is going into the battle line boost right now. Ooh, Moose messing up a little bit on the battle line boost, not quite getting the trajectory that they wanted, and result in them having to do a forward dash. I think, were they late on the battle line boost? I think that's what it was, and so they just weren't getting the momentum that they needed. Millay on the final few screens of the battle line fight. Yep, just 2 more screens now before out of here, and we'll be doing the final ascent after leveling up. And good recovery there, not quite able to get the reverse hyper that they needed. Millay getting a 549, just on the borderline of 550, and a 2105 on that file timer. And we'll be entering Summit there on 29 pace. And now we got Moose also on the summit now. Still about a minute behind. In my mind, not really worth any sort of sync, as yes, there is a delay going on. There is that time gap that exists. Words are not coming to me right now. Oh, Millay messing up right there, not quite getting the right amount of dashes. And just kind of just hugging a wall there at that dream block. And it's a pretty good Dream Hypers coming out there. Ooh, I've ran into that strategy before. Not quite flying far enough for that trick there, and just ending up having to use the walls to get over to the orb. And now we got Moose working on the Dream Hypers. Meanwhile, Millay is dealing with the most difficult screens as he just passes by a FFZ room. And Millay having to do a little bit improv as he ended up a bit out of cycle. And that's not too difficult of a room to do improv in, luckily, so he was fine. And now Moose dealing with the 1500 meter sections. Able to get the hyper dashes. And we got Moose RTA-wise starting 2,000 meters, while Millay is entering 2,500. Millay working through the door skip right now, successfully able to get there, and is now going to be moving on to 3,000 meters at about 27 minutes. Still comfortably on 29 pace. Yeah, for reference, Millay is at 8th place right now, and Moose is at 10th. I believe those are the standings. Both players now working on 3,000 meters. Millay more than halfway through. Getting to flag number 12 at 28:35. And this means they actually are looking to be at going to be getting a 30-minute game, 30-minute end time probably. Just looking at stats here. Or rather, just looking at the pace that's currently going on. Meanwhile, Moose just hit flag number 17 at 29:09. All things considered, still a very good fight for both players right now. But Millay has just been able to play a little bit cleaner than Moose, and allowing him to take the lead and most likely the win here. But it is looking like Millay may be able to sneak underneath the wire and actually still get a sub 30 here. Let's see if he's able to get it. Going down right now, 29.50s. Oh, it's looking very close. Is he able to get there? And yeah, gets there. 29.55 it looks like, just barely a 55. Nope, it actually ended up being a 29.56. Still good time over there by Millay, and Moose is going to be finishing right behind him very shortly as he hits flag number 2 just then. That wasn't 2, that was 7. Excuse me, I know my flags. Ooh, death on the beginning of flag number 3. And yeah, this is looking to be like something that could actually be a pretty close match, as we are seeing right now that Moose is looking to be within a minute right now, and this is only the first race. So potential for some very good races coming up. And yep, Moose coming in here right now. Gonna be successfully able to get a 30.58. So yeah, looking at about a 1 minute difference between the two players. Let's see how well that's gonna work out and what we're gonna be dealing with here in game number 2. And I just realized it's March, folks. We're getting very close. April's next month, and you know, and know what that means. We got April being pace. So, you know, get ready. The schedule has been locked at this point. You know, all the people who are going to be part of it have at this point registered and stuff. So there are no backups. So, you know, what you see on that schedule is what's going to happen. So, you know, get your tickets ready. Do what you got to do. Exclamation point tickets. It's going to be a fun one. And the schedule's completely out there. Other than, you know, who's participating in the league competitions. But you know it's going to be the top fours. It's going to be hype. See some Celeste action like this. Like this jumping. Oh, this jumping. Short death there by Moose right now. And yeah, we do have the lead currently by Moose actually. I believe. Yeah. Moose out of there at a 139, it looked like, and Millay out of there at a 144. Yep. So 5-second difference now coming out of chapter 1. And that is a 1 death to 2 deaths. Millay getting 2 more deaths on there. 1 more death than Moose. Which definitely explains the 5-second gap that we are seeing coming into chapter 2. Players still very close right now as we are moving into the final screen of the battle line chase sequence here. Ooh, Moose having a little bit of trip up there. 332 on there to 337. Still a 5-second lead here for Moose coming into Chapter 3. Ooh, Moose having a little bit of a messy lobby right now, and it looks like Millay is going to be able to potentially pass him right now. Still, definitely Moose right now in the lead, but it's getting very close. Moose having to play very well right now in order to keep this lead that he currently has, as Millay is slowly inching up on him. It's very important that Moose is able to stay ahead RTA-wise here, as that is really the clearest marker that we have right now. Millay, if Millay gets ahead RTA-wise, he is not necessarily ahead in-game timer, but he is definitely going to be much closer to it, of course. So Moose able to keep this lead going here is definitely what's going to cement that this gap is still the way it is, if that makes any sense. Both players currently dealing with the same problems right now, but with Millay at a 3-second timer desync. You know, it's the age-old question. Do we resync the timers just to make it clear, or do we keep it the way it is just so it looks more exciting? Because look at those synced movements that are happening right now. So sweet. Ooh, Millay definitely getting some good distance on Moose here. Gonna be potentially able to get ahead here. Still not quite there. Just a little bit behind Moose. Just looking at screen transitions, it is still definitely Moose's lead right now. But not by much. And we are coming up on Demo Dash right now. Moose did mess this up on the previous ride right now, and he is opting to continuously take checkpoints. So, oh, and Moose losing it on the first try there. That is gonna give a definite lead to Millay. And Moose failing on Task Cycle as well. Moose falling apart right now, approaching the Oshir section, hopefully able to pick up those pieces so that he can keep the, so he can catch back up to Millay, who is definitely taking the lead at this point. Right now, Moose is struggling to find those pieces. One fell under the couch maybe, as he continuously is failing right now and not getting these coins. Meanwhile, Millay is still running away with it, as Moose is just searching, maybe finding some pennies under that couch instead of those pieces that he needs through the puzzle. Millay gonna be finishing out with an 804. And it looks like Millay, it looks like Moose has found a dime as he is at 8:16. So about 10-second different right now, going into chapter number 4. I think I'm done with this analogy. Ooh! Millay taking a quick death there as he is headbutting into the wall, not quite able to get his, was not able to keep his dash, and so I believe was trying to get into that bubble, but was not quite able to get into the bubble. And so just kind of had to die there. I'm definitely still in the lead. Moose just not playing as confidently as he was. Yeah, he's hesitating right now. He's getting tricks, or like getting setups for tricks, but then hesitating and deciding to back down on them and just go back for a safer strategy instead, which is losing him time. And just not something that should be happening right now when Millay is at this lead that he currently is at. You know, this lead that Millay currently has is going to be harder and harder to close as we get further and further into this game. These are the opportunities that you got to take advantage of, Moose. Millay has entered the cliff face. He got in there at about 10:06. Meanwhile, Moose still dealing with the auto-scroller right now at 10:17. This is looking like a significant lead on Millay's part. And indeed, what was 10 seconds at the end of Chapter 3 has turned into 25 seconds entering cliff face. And Millay going to be out of there now. Going to be getting out of cliff face and Golden Ridge as a whole at 10:55. Meanwhile, Moose is just about halfway through cliff face, still dealing with the thing, still dealing with this heavy wind and these bubbles. And that's 11:20 on the side of Moose. Still a 25-second gap going on, so no real deficit happening on that cliff face, but still quite a surmountable lead right now for Millay. Millay successfully able to get that yeet as Moose is going for it in his 5A right now. Moose right now at best trying to just maintain this gap that's going on right now, as Millay is successfully able to get a 1:13 there. Moose not quite able to pull off the yeet this time around. That'll be a bit of a punishing thing right there. Losing a couple seconds to that to losing that trick right there. But that could be fine. Still going through the cassette room right now. And gonna be out of there at a 1:15 chapter timer. Oh! Millay! Missing the Bubs drop. That is big right now. That's gonna shorten that gap right there by a full 10 seconds potentially if Moose is able to get this on the first try, as Millay is now able to get it on the second try. But Moose definitely had a trouble spot on this last run of getting to the Bubs drop. Even getting to the Bubs drop right now, he is unsuccessful. He's feeling a little bit shaky, just getting that death right now. It's not going to be, it's not going to be a walk in the park right now, as he is also not going to be having the wall jump strategy. He's just going to be going for it base. And no, he's not going to be able to get the Bubs drop. Moose taking a little bit of a rest now, as he's going to have to go in for his second attempt now. Meanwhile, Millay is still walking away, keeping that 30-second gap that has now been taken, and that's going to be increased to about almost a 40-second gap, as Moose is now going into his third try for Bubs drop. Meanwhile, Millay is now falling down the chasm. Oh, Moose, you gotta get this Bubs drop. I'm trying to not look at you, trying to bring attention to Millay, who is currently looking at the Seekers right now, and just see what he's gonna do. And there goes that time on what I believe was the 5th try. Actually no, it was the 4th try. Excuse me, 4th try for that Bubs drop, and then getting it on that attempt. But that is a 30-second. That is a 30-second time loss right there. Millay now dealing with the Theo section. Millay now dealing with the final screen. It's going to be on this final room here. Ooh, good recovery, but not quite enough. Was out of the rhythm now, but is able to recover in this death attempt. Is going to be finishing out 5B at 15:17. Meanwhile, Moose just starting up this Theo section at that timing. I'm sorry, I'm realizing now I got a little too lost in the importance of Bubs drops to actually not explain it. I'll explain it a little bit just to see what's going on. You know what, actually I'll save it for the third run, because it's a lot easier to explain when it's happening in the moment. So stay tuned for that, as we are now looking at a 16:01 finish on Moose's side. Doing the math here really quickly in my head. That is nearly a minute gap, which is what makes sense here. It was 25 seconds going into we had 3 failed Bubs drops. To the 1 though. So there's 10 seconds that I'm not considering here that I'm not getting, but nonetheless, we still have about a 50-second gap here. Leg skip coming in for Moose now, able to get on the first try. players moving through the hollow section now. And Millay going for that top route. Successfully able to get that corner boost this. And Millay now going into this dark descent here, preceding the battle in fight. Ooh, rough death there on Moose's side. Millay now going to the battle line boost. Successful battle and boost going in there, as Moose is Don't Feather is going to be talking to Grandma short. Moose coming up on his battle line boost. And there it is, successfully able to get in there. I was not quite looking at timers, but I'm still expecting about a minute cap right now between these two players, as no real mess-ups occurred anywhere here in Reflection. And I really just love watching the movement here. It's such a huge example of what we really can do with momentum in this game. Millay nearly done with Chapter 6, just on the last couple screens here before going into the level up sequence. And Millay finishing, I believe, with earlier time than he did last run, getting a 21:07 now, exiting on Reflection. And Moose dealing with the death there on this final screen here. It's very, very disheartening to be seeing that right now from Moose. As we are now going to be looking at a greater than 1 minute difference here in the beginning of Summit. And yeah, getting a 22:14. That is a minute and 5 seconds roughly. Millay looking for another win here, as he is yet again on potential 29 pace. It does definitely rely on Summit being good and being able to get the sub 9 minutes on that chapter. Moose having a little bit of mess, having a little bit of spaghetti going on at the 500 meters right now. Meanwhile, Millay moving through the 1500 meter sections, going through some difficult screws. And just cleaning it up in this hotel. Moose and Millay still about a full section apart right now. As Millay is going through this 2,000 meter section. But Moose has definitely been playing uncomfortably this whole race, and it's definitely going to be impactful at this 1500 meter section where little things can definitely cause a whole domino effect in this section. And I'm hoping to see some potential improvements on Moose's part, you know, being able to forget this run and just go into the next one with a clear head. Yes, he won't be able to get the set point, but he can still get a point out of this, and that is still crucial sometimes. Yeah, we are getting later into the weeks of this season for the league, and every point matters. Ooh, Millay messing up on some of his tricks on 2500 meters right now. Not quite being able to get what he needs, and is messing up on some fairly simple strategy. Meanwhile, Moose missing up on the auto-scroller skip right now in 2,000 meters. We're seeing some uncharacteristic mistakes right now. And Millay now at 3,000 meters, just about around 27 minutes yet again. Millay messing up on flag 19 right now, as Moose is working through 2,500 meters. Moose not quite able to thread the needle. Going on the third attempt right now. And then able to get the door skip on the first try, luckily. Millay, meanwhile, I'm dealing with flag number 12. Just finished out flag 13. And again, looking at that fight right now for Millay to potentially be able to get another sub 30. We'll be entering flag number 6 at 29 minutes, just about. This is going to cut it very close to 30 minutes. Meanwhile, Moose has started up, is on flag 25, or about to hit flag 25. If it would only be marked for a second there, there it goes. And now just going through here. At 29.15 at flag 23. Millay, meanwhile, looking towards flag number 1, going to be getting here at 29.39, just about looking to secure another sub 30 run. And that is going to be about 7 seconds faster than their last run, getting a 29.49. Meanwhile, Moose now struggling just a little bit going through this updraft section, having to go back for certain flags, and just all around security going on here. But Moose definitely still within firing distance for that game 3. Yeah, unfortunately, Moose not showing as good of good of a performance here on this second race. Going to be getting a 2-minute difference here on the second race. Or nearly 2-minute difference. As is able to get a 31.42. 43. Going into race 3 now. Players have gotten ready real quick and we'll be starting it up. Yeah, so many questions going into this race. Will Millay be able to potentially get a PB this time around, as he was very close to his PB at that last finish right there? And the other question being, will Moose be able to perform better and actually get closer to Millay this time around? He could even surpass it if he plays his cards correctly. Ooh! Bit of a mess up there from Millay's side, and it's going to be Moose going to be with the first finish out of Chapter 1. 135 on the file timer to 138 for Millay. Looking at a 3-second gap into Chapter 2. All due to just that last screen. But Moose going to be taking a death there, and now we are back to being tied, essentially. As we are looking at the dashes coming out through these dream blocks, going to be seeing what we can do here. Looking at a neck-and-neck race right now at Chapter 2. Both of these players, though, pretty confident at Chapter 2. As I say that, Millay not quite able to get in there. Yes, I also will be commentating the one at 10 p.m. Man's gotta eat though, so I will probably not be in the chat for much the time between then. I nearly forgot I signed up for that, so thank you. Yeah, 3 seconds is not going to matter on an 8-hour run, dude. But on a 30-minute run, yeah, 3 seconds definitely gonna impact some things. As we are looking at Moose being slightly ahead, getting a 3:28 right now, as Millay is at 3:38. So we are at a 10-second gap now. And no, these times are not gonna break the bank right now, but it's certainly something to pay attention to because it's crucial to maintain these leads. And also, what's more interesting, me talking around saying, constantly telling you the gaps going on and who's in the lead, or me being like, oh, and Moose is now at a 10-second lead, at a 5-second lead, and it's not gonna matter too much. Why am I even doing this now? You know, we don't need me here. We could just watch this on its own and see what it happens. No, I think I'm gonna go with the first option. Meanwhile, though, we got Moose getting into that key door at about 4:36. And Millay there at 4:46. So yep, the 10-second gap is there and apparent as we are entering the big mess sections. I'm a professional quality? Thank you. Give me a second to recover from that compliment. Okay, Moose now moving through the second section of Big Mess. And players have gotten much closer now. I got distracted by chat. How dare you do that to me? The players moving through difficult sections now of Chapter 3. And as I say that, we're going to be getting Millay taking a death and now having to struggle with that screen. Moose is definitely running away with a bit of a lead right now. We are going into the elevator shaft and approaching a section that has surprisingly been a bit of a troublesome theme today for Moose, the demo dash. Something that is taking me by surprise right now, messing up twice today. Having to get second try demo dash 2 times in a row today, which is kind of uncharacteristic for Moose. So we'll see if he is able to get this demo dash and maintain this lead. Millay is also approaching it. Moose is able to get it on the first try. Now Millay coming up now for it. Also getting on the first try. We are dealing with the very difficult sections now as we're going into the Oshiro. Yeah. 100% in this game definitely takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. Not necessarily what we're doing right now, we're just going for any percent, as Moose has just finished out Chapter 3 at 7:58. Meanwhile, Moose is going to be out of here and be getting out of here at 8:23. This is actually really good times for Moose right now. These are crazy exit times, actually. 7:58 exit on there. That is really good to be seeing. And while we are here in the middle of Golden Ridge, approaching Chapter 5, I will ask if that person in chat from last race is still here for about the Bubs drop, because now that we're approaching Bubs drop again, I would like to know if that guy's still here and whether or not I explain it. I'll probably explain it either way, just because Bubs drop is kind of a little difficult thing to wrap your head around, and not if you're not aware of it. Wanted to get that out of the way, given the slight delay that I have with chat, so, you know, when it comes up, I will be able to actually see in chat that, hey, that guy is still here, and I will explain it when I need. Anyway, though, we are moving through the Golden Ridge. And Moose playing very well. We're looking at a very, like at this point, a pretty large lead for Moose in this Chapter 4. That dude is still here, cool. Or dudette. No judgments here. Moose is now in the Clayface sections. I pronounced that word very weirdly. And yeah, Moose dealing with about a 30-second lead right now. This is insane for Moose, considering the first two races that he just had. And Millay taking a death there. So now we're in 5A. Moose coming up to Yeet right now. And Yeet not going to matter too much, as he is at a comfortable lead right now. As Moose is at a comfortable lead. Moose not able to get the Yeet. As I said, not going to matter too much. Now approaching cassette room, so that we can unlock 5B. taking a death there, unfortunately, at the end out of the cassette room, while Millay is successfully able to get the yeet this time. Moose is not able to get yeets at all, while Millay, I believe, got yeets all 3 times, if I'm remembering things correctly. And now we're into 5B, so I'll try to explain Bub's Drop as succinctly as I can. Basically, it is just re-entering a certain room in a way that you are closer to a platform that is on the right side, so that when you retry, you get respawned on the right side instead of somewhere where you don't want to be. But the thing is, this transition right here kind of puts you into a little cutscene. So you got to do it correctly and jumping off the wall before that cutscene is triggered. It's like a quote-unquote cutscene because it's just more like an animation that you get stuck into. So by triggering a jump before it happens and releasing that jump in like a certain amount of frames, it's a very small window. You're essentially doing a frame perfect trick, but it's like in reality like a few frames. But it's kind of hard to explain how many frames. I won't go into that detail. Either way, it's about re-entering a screen there so that you are able to retry correctly and end up on the right side of the screen when you re-enter that room. So it's called a Bub's Drop because you're jumping and dropping back down into this previous screen in order to be set up for the proper respawn area. But now that that has been explained, we are into the mirror on Moose's section as Millay is approaching that mirror. Moose is going to be grabbing Theo at about 1404. And both of these players getting that Bub's Drop on the first try is actually not giving me a lot of time to explain that Bub's Drop, as both players are kind of just blazing through right now. Ooh, Millay having a bit of trouble there on this room, not quite able to get his dash block there. And Millay having some trouble in the gauntlet room right now. Secret gauntlet. So Moose is going to be exiting at 1457. While Millay is still struggling here at the end of 5B. Like, did these players switch streams in between races when I wasn't looking or something? Because we are looking at a very reversed situation here at the entering Chapter 6. Not to say, of course, that Moose isn't capable of doing this. It's just... It's just very surprising to see. Yeah, we're in nearly a 1 minute gap here. We are at just under 50-second gap here. And we're only at Chapter 6 right now. It's really interesting to be seeing this. I have to give this to fatigue. It's the only explanation I can think of, as Millay has been playing very well in these first 2 races, but now in this 3rd race has been playing much messier than he was. So it has, you know, like I have to put fatigue at blame here, not to discredit Moose's gameplay. He's still playing excellently this time around, but to go from such an excellent performance on essentially PB pace from Millay to what he is doing now, it has to be fatigue. And that is not something that you want to be dealing with, especially like when every point matters here. Especially with Millay being on that cusp of 8th place. He is currently the bodyguard to 8th place right now. The one who, 8th place being the final person to stay in the brackets, to move on into the bracket stage. So, him having any sort of every point he can get will keep him having that security to stay in 8th place and maybe even rise higher as he is trying to maintain this placement so that he can go into the brackets round. So you do not want to be dealing with fatigue in this 3rd match. You want to be getting all those points. Moose is going to be getting that battle line boost, entering at about an 1809. And yeah, very good gameplay from Moose. He's looking to be potentially sub 30 right now. Oop, Moose having a little bit of spaghetti right there. And moves now into the second part of the battle line fight. As Millay is still dealing with the parts that he is at. Still in the first half. I believe it has gotten a little bit closer here on Chapter 6, but it's definitely not going to be an easy mountain climb this time going into Summit, as he does not have this lead, and it's going to be very difficult for Millay to potentially get this from him. And didn't quite catch what that end time was. Millay now taking a death at the end of Chapter 6. At the end of this battle line fight. And we got Moose taking a breather, understandably so, as he is on very good pace at the end of Chapter 6, entering Chapter 7. Yeah, that is a 21:05 that he got at the end there. This is really good pace and potential PB pace. I'm not sure how good Moose is at getting sub 9 times, 8xx times on Summit, but he's looking at a very possible PB right now, and he's just getting concerned right now as he is not quite able to get these tricks right now at just 0 meters. And those are very important to get, as Millay is on your tail, Moose. You gotta keep it going. Ooh, Moose having trouble now at 500 meters. Yeah, just tripping up on the same death over and over again. He's going to take it slow, not quite going to do the speed strat that time around. Just taking it slow. Has he given up on PB pace at this point? Has he just decided that he's just going to try to stick with getting the victory right now and play it safe? And here we got Millay also doing safer strategies right now on 500 meters. Moose going to be going into 1500 meters very shortly, and with both these players going to 1500 meters, it's hard to say what will be going on at the exit of 1500 meters. Both these players playing not as confidently as they were just a little bit ago. And yes, I know the gap is wider than it seems. Thank you, Milo, for pointing that out to me. But it's still really crazy, okay? And Moose having a little bit of trouble at the end of 1500 meters right now, as Millay has started up 1500. Still at that 1 minute gap, I would say. Maybe less. I am not doing the math right now consistently. I keep forgetting to look at markers at different times. I have taken a mental note of a certain time, so I will hopefully be able to see what the gap really is right now. And given what I am seeing, we are just about at a 35-second gap here between the two players, as we are approaching 2,500 meters. Moose trying to maintain this lead. Moose also trying to get that PB. Still very much potentially within range. But taking deaths and threading the needle is definitely not going to be part of that. All things considered, I don't think that the PB is really possible at this point. Just going to be trying to maintain the lead and get the point off of Millay. We have Moose going through downdraft section of 3,000 meters as Millay is just about to approach 3,000 meters and get flag number 30. Ooh! That is a tough death right there for Moose. That is completely, in my mind, taken out the possibility of PBs. Good recovery though. At this point, trying to keep the lead as now on flag number 20. With Millay inching ever closer, just 5 flags behind right now. Moose now in the updraft section. Deaths are going to be very impactful. And as I'm saying that, we are seeing a bit of a mess up there at the end of flag 14. Able to recover it though. Players are about 3 flags apart, and these flags are only getting shorter. Moose at 9 right now. Hitting 6, he's about 30 seconds behind of his PB. Still definitely within his range. I don't even know if Moose is gonna be aware of the lead that he currently has here, as both Millay's performances were ahead of this race right here. But just Millay playing very messily during this run. Gonna be at flag number 4 right now at 30:03. So we are looking at just about a 30-second gap on that finish. Moose is gonna cement that victory and getting a 30:11. Now looking at Millay, indeed going to be getting a 30-second difference here as we get a 30-42 for Millay on that third race. Good performances from both sides. Moose not getting dissuaded by the first two races and able to pull out a very good time here on this third. It looks like we got Moose joined here.
Hello.
Hey, congrats on getting the point.
Thank you. That was kind of unexpected.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah, I figured you might be thinking that. I didn't know if you were watching or not. And it looks like it's just gonna be you. And yeah, given the times that Millay was getting the first two races, I didn't think you. Yeah, with that in mind, I didn't think you'd be expecting that.
Like I am pretty rusty at 90% right now because I've had to focus on other categories for other things, and I haven't really had time to like get back into 20%. But I'm glad I managed to pull that last run out. And luckily for me, Millay had a subpar run, I guess.
Yeah, he dealt with game 3 fatigue this time around. It seemed.
Yeah, that happens.
That's going to be very important here. Potentially helping you out here. Even though not getting the set, you're still getting a point out of this. So
Well, that helps. I'm not really sure what I need to move up the ranking right now.
you know better. Sure. You know better than I do, as you can see the points distribution. Anyway, you feeling like you can potentially be getting a PB? As I feel like for a good portion of that, you probably were on PB pace.
I was on PB pace coming out of Ridge, and then Temple happened.
But okay, that's kind of fair.
my PB is actually pretty good for my skill level right now. It's 30 seconds within my SOB, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
and
pretty ridiculous.
I don't see myself grinding any percent much more after this tournament is over, so we'll see what happens. But I'm not like super motivated for 80% right now. Kind of burned out, but anything can happen.
Right, so you got any other things you want to say? I did definitely see some emotes coming out in the chat for you, so people there are some fans of Moose right now.
I guess that's Evan. Thank you, Evan. Not really much to say. Thank you for commentating, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun. Enjoyed watching these races. These did have some hype moments in them.
Awesome.
That I was able to get out. So yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Moose, for the post interview there. And we will be having a short break, about an hour actually. That's not that short. Looking into it now. And we'll be having an SM64 70-star league Division 2 match at 8 o'clock. So that's about an hour from now. See you then.